aspect about this is the following. You see, in the period 79 to 83, the currency collapses. But stocks didn't react much on the upside in local currency. You see the index is around 1,000 here. By 83, we just had doubled to about 2,000, and the low was 800. So say, we went up a little bit. So in dollar terms, the currency collapses, but the stock market goes up only slowly. In dollar terms, we went down from 70 to 5. At 5, the market was unbelievably cheap. I went to Argentina in 1987. You could have bought the entire stock market of Argentina, essentially all the big industrial groups, for $750 million US. And the same happened in Brazil. High inflation brings, monetary inflation brings these distortions in the price mechanism and this volatility. So if you entered the market here in 83, what subsequently happened, the currency continued to collapse. But stocks went ballistic from here, roughly 1,000 in 83 to 343,000 in 3 years later. So in dollar terms, you went from 5 to 220. You had a huge gain. What I want to say here is really, we live in an environment of money printing. You have to live with a lot of volatility, and it doesn't pay to be overly dogmatic. I think equities probably made a major low on March 6, 2009, when the S&P was at 666. I don't think we will revisit that low anytime soon. I believe if the S&P drops 200 points here, you have QE3, QE4, QE5, and so forth and so on. And if the Chinese economy slows down, the Chinese will also print money massively. And I would therefore own some gold. I don't think gold is in a bubble. A bubble is characterized by essentially very rapid acceleration on the upside. You have here the last bubble. By the way, the Middle East was a big participant in the last gold bubble. The whole world was speculating day and night, but especially here in the Middle East, because we had excessive liquidity in 79. In 79, in November, the price of gold is still around $400. Then we have a breakaway gap, continuation gap, and within less than 3 months, we doubled in price to $850 in January 1980. Then we have a big collapse. That is a bubble. When prices accelerate on the upside, when they go parabolically up, like NASDAQ doubled August 99 to March 2000, that is not the case about gold. And by the way, in this room, since you're all intelligent people, how many of you own of your assets, let's exclude your personal businesses, like if you have a shop or I don't know what kind of a business. But anyway, if you have, those of you who have more than 5% of your assets in gold, please lift your hand. Now you look around, you tell me whether that is a bubble. In 2000, if I had asked you how many of you have more than 50% in NASDAQ stocks, everybody would have lifted his hands. Or in 89, how many of you have everything in Japanese stocks? Everybody would have been in Japanese stock. This is what institutions have in gold compared to the rest. I don't believe that this is a bubble. But, you know, we went up strongly. We made a peak in September, on September 6, 2011, at 1,921. Then we dropped on December 29th of last year to 1,522. In my view, we're still in a correction period. But I think you should all, you're intelligent, you should all put every month a little bit of money in gold, buy some coins. And if it dropped sharply, so, because my asset allocation has this cash, so essentially, if either equities drop a lot or if precious metals drop a lot, you can then allocate more to that investment, which has essentially declined substantially. So basically, I would own some gold. I am ultra bearish about everything. As I recently remarked, sometimes when I look at the global economic and geopolitical situation, I feel like committing suicide. But you have to understand, you have to think it through. If you're very, very bearish about everything, are you better off in cash, in government bonds, in equities, or in precious metals? There's also another issue. I was a few days ago in Singapore. They have built a huge storage facility for precious metals, for diamonds, and for paintings. You have also to consider where you want to hold your assets, because if you hold assets, say gold in the US, for sure it will be taken away one day by our socialist president. So I would say I would own some precious metals and equities. Consider Germany. Last 120 years, people that had their money in cash and bonds, they lost it 3 times. World War I, hyperinflation, World War II. If you had Siemens and BASF, you still have something. May not have been the greatest investment on earth, but you have it. If you have real estate in Germany, if you had the unfortunate luck to have it in East Germany, you lost everything. West Germany, you're okay. So that real estate, you also have to diversify. Don't have all your real estate in Dubai or all of it in the UK or all of it in the US. I would diversify between different regions of the world. And I would own essentially real estate in the countryside, because I think, you know, financial centers and city centers are very vulnerable to cyber wars, to biological warfare, and so forth and so on. I mean, you switch off the electricity here in Dubai, it's not going to be very pleasant. In your country home, you can survive. You have a few cows and chicken and so forth, and the wife can look after them. And so, or the girlfriend, and you'll be okay. So, my worry is really, in the Western world, we have a good idea, you know, social state, people support the poor and disenfranchised people. And now we have essentially few people and fewer people supporting more and more. It doesn't add up. The states are bankrupt under the current system, including Japan probably in the long run. And, you know, when you have a crisis, and you print money, and you force additional credit expansion, the excessive credit caused the crisis. Now you inject more credit, but this time government credit, into the economy. You postpone the problem, but you don't solve it. And usually what then happens, wealth inequality increases, the masses become dissatisfied.